The median salary for an airlines pilot is over $200,000. Why is there a pilot shortage? Flight school is an extremely expensive upfront cost, with vanishingly fewer options for scholarships than med school or law school, and pilots who finish flight school face a big hurdle: their job schedule is going to suck. Airlines always give their most senior pilots the routes and schedules they want. Everyone else picks up their scraps. So as a freshly trained pilot, your life becomes dedicated to nothing but horridly scheduled flights and shitty layovers that no one else wanted to work. If you pass those up because you had family plans, a day where you're under the weather, you'll get deprioritized even further. In addition to all of this, it's stupidly easy to have your career end as a pilot. They have an insane list of health requirements, and if your health or body slightly deteriorate, you're fucked. So you're basically paying out the ass and training for years to start a career that you might lose the ability to do much sooner than expected. Off the top of my head, I'd say barrier to entry. It costs anywhere from $50 to $100K to get a commercial pilot's license. It's also a weirdly risky career, not safety-wise, but financially. Develop a heart condition? Career over. See a therapist? Career over. Keeping one's medical can be hard, and you can lose it for things outside your control because the FAA is covering its ass. Financial stability of airlines is also a recent phenomenon with consolidation, and with government willing to bail out shareholders to the tune of billions during the pandemic. Pay is good, but early years can be incredibly tough schedule-wise, and those years are prime family formation years. Adding to everything that's been said, finding ways to pay for flight school is challenging. You either need to go to a university with a flight program which takes about 4 years and costs about $200,000 in student loans, or you skip the university piece and attend a flight school, which will still cost $80,000 to $120,000 depending on where you live, except they don't qualify for student loans. So you either need to have the cash to pay for it, or take out a personal loan, such as Stratus or Maritais, which generally come with a 15% plus interest rate. So that $120,000 is now $200,000 in total costs, and you're gambling your entire career on having the FAA not pulling your medical for something out of your control. Get injured and lose vision? Medical gone. End up depressed and on antidepressants? Medical might get pulled. Suffer a concussion while playing sports? You're grounded. My point is, you're making a huge financial investment, assuming tremendous financial risk, and you're at the mercy of many factors outside of your control. Then comes all the other stuff like being gone several days at a time, which is hard for most people, especially if you're wanting a family, etc. Also, a lot of people get burned out by all the travel. That being said, many pilots love what they do and are glad they're doing it. But it's certainly not for everyone, which is why roughly 80% of students who begin flight training and never finish. The cost of training to become a commercial pilot is the same as going to a major university. First, you start out on smaller planes and work your way up to being able to fly larger jets. So if you don't have a job as small plane pilot, then you have to pay for all the hours it requires to work your way up. Then, a lot of the larger airlines start pilots out on smaller regional jets, and they have to work their way up in those. The larger the plane, the more money you make. You also make more money if you're a captain. Also, pilots are closer to 100-120K, but a lot pick up flights outside their regular schedule that gets them overtime pay, so that can increase the pay. If there was no shortage, then the OT wouldn't be as readily available. Edit. I think I lowballed the salary. There have been increases in post-COVID era, so I think it's closer to 150 average now. And I'm pretty sure a heavy cargo captain can make close to 300. You don't even need a degree to be a pilot. No, you just need years and years of expensive training. The median salary. A 6-foot man walked through a river that was an average of 5 feet deep. He drowned. Median isn't average. USA and just USA have a rule that you need 1,500 hours of flying before becoming an airline transport pilot. So after you pay for flight school and other modules, you need to find a job that will allow you to fly more than 1,000 hours in a small plane, or what happens usually is that pilots pay to fly so that they hit that 1,500 hours mark. That's really expensive, and the problem is that it is not really helping much because hundreds of hours of flying on a small plane doesn't translate to flying on a big jet that well. I know multiple people who became flight instructors for a few years to rack up the hours. Comparatively cheaper option, but still by no means easy to wrangle. The hours are shit, can't really start a family depending on the routes you have to fly. It's shit for mental health. Millennials and Gen Z just value work-life balance more, and pilots have close to none. Why aren't you a pilot? Training is expensive as hell. You can get a degree for free in a public university, but you can't get a pilot license for free. It's a pretty cyclic market, and one year there is a shortage, another year there is not that much positions. You don't want to borrow 150,000 euros and end up in debt. Stuff like pay to fly and Ryanair wage is also killing the perspective of young commercial pilots. You start by paying to sit in a cockpit, then even though Ryanair pay isn't that bad, it's not a get-rich salary. There is strict rules on medical, stuff like depression or kidney stones can be a career ender, and the work conditions aren't that great, night work, professional exposure to radiation, time spent away from home, making the job not that attractive. Add that if you like to fly, you'll have more fun in an ultralight or a glider than in an airliner. I remember my grandpa, who was a pilot, said the cost of becoming a pilot was always everything you had and more.